Good afternoon and welcome to the launch of Asialink Business's latest report, Risk and Reward Opportunities for Australian SMEs in China. My name is Gabrielle Burgess and I'm an associate with Asialink Business's Advisory and Insights team. I will be your host today and the moderator for our business panel later. I would like to begin by acknowledging the elders of the Wurundjeri people who are of the Kulin Nations, who are the traditional elders of the land upon which Melbourne University sits. I would like to pay my sincere respects to elders past, present and emerging, and I would like to extend my respect to any Indigenous Australians who may be joining us in the room or online today. I'm delighted that we have such a diverse audience here in the room and from all across Australia and in China to celebrate this exciting new report, which takes a fresh look at China and the opportunities for Australian businesses. I want to acknowledge that we are joined here today by Peter Tsai, the CEO of the National Foundation for Australia-China Relations. I would also like to acknowledge Asialink Group CEO Martine Letts and Asialink Business CEO Leigh Howard. This report has been developed with the generous support from the National Foundation for Australia-China Relations. So thank you to the Foundation. Today's event will run for just over an hour. We will begin with some opening remarks from Leigh Howard and Peter Tsai before hearing from Robert Law, who will give some findings from the report. We will then move into our business panel and hear from two fantastic speakers who have done or previously done business in the market, Philip Gosmazel and Catherine Servacio. Before we begin, a few housekeeping matters. This event will be recorded and made publicly available online at Asialink Business's website and will also be sent by email to all attendees today. We will also be having a panel discussion, so please feel free to start thinking of your questions. We'll be going out to the room and also you can launch your questions online through the Slido link in the chat. Now, to start off our opening remarks, I'd like to introduce Leigh Howard, Asialink Business's CEO. Leigh has 2 decades of experience representing Australian businesses in Asia across the corporate, government, startup and for-purpose sectors. As CEO of Asialink Business, Leigh has focused on delivering services that empower Asian businesses or Australian organisations to seize opportunities in Asian markets. Please join me in welcoming Leigh Howard.
Thank you, Gabby. I reflect on your reference to my 2 decades and realise how dangerously close that's getting to 3 decades as I get a bit older. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you here in the room today, as well as those of you joining us online. Let me begin by also paying my respects to the traditional owners on the lands on which we meet today and acknowledging our VIPs in attendance, Peter Tsai, CEO of NFACR, and Martine Letts, the Group CEO of Asialink. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to imagine a cohort of Australian companies that have been hit with more challenges than those doing business in China. The complexity and speed of change in China are making it increasingly difficult for businesses to find success. As someone said to me earlier, just a few minutes ago, the gold rush days are over. Continuing COVID-19 restrictions, trade sanctions, and ongoing supply chain disruptions present a multitude of complications which few, if any of us, would have envisaged only a few years ago. It was against this backdrop we observed that reporting and analysis on the economic relationship between Australia and China often focused on key commodity sectors and how some of Australia's largest companies have fared in this challenging environment. The experience of Australian small and medium enterprises during the same period has been largely flying under the radar. Yet SMEs are vitally important. They account for 88% of all Australian companies. They are the backbone of the Australian economy. As Australia's National Centre for Asia Capability, the role of Asialink Business is to work with Australian organisations to create an Asia-capable workforce, one which is capable of navigating opportunities and making the most of what our region has to offer. And while the opportunities across Asia are increasing, so too are the challenges. Today, more than ever, it's essential that Australian businesses equip themselves with the skills, knowledge, and insights required to maximise their success in our region. For that reason, I'm delighted to be launching our latest Asialink business report, Risk and Reward: Opportunities for Australian SMEs in China. Ladies and gentlemen, this report shines a light on the experience of 11 Australian SMEs selling goods in China across food, fashion, health, and skincare sectors. It shares their hard-won experience operating throughout the pandemic era, in many instances adapting their strategies and operating models. Our report provides revealing, honest, first-hand accounts of their experience, providing lessons and insights for other exporters considering the market. I'm very pleased to extend my welcome to Catherine Cavasio, CEO of Aroma Baby, and Philip Gomizel, MD of Pippin Foods, who have joined us and will shortly share more about their journeys as part of today's program. As our report shows, Aussie SMEs might not have the resources of big business when operating overseas, but with innovative approaches, many are achieving sustained growth. The truth of the matter is, consumers recognise quality when they see it, and Australian companies that successfully leverage the high regard international consumers have for Australia as a producer of safe, clean, and high-quality products will prosper. Ladies and gentlemen, Asialink Business provides a range of resources and learning programs to prepare Australian businesses for expansion into a variety of Asian markets. Today's report on China complements our China Digital Economy Academy, a program that has successfully helped more than 150 SMEs to better understand China's e-commerce landscape and take advantages of opportunities in China's digital economy. We are indeed grateful to the support of the National Foundation for Australia-China Relations for funding this work, and it is now my pleasure to introduce their CEO to provide his remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Tsai has extensive experience in business, media, academia and government, including roles as Group Chief Advisor for Strategic Relations at Virgin Australia, Research Fellow at the Lowy Institute for International Policy, and as a journalist with leading Australian newspapers. Peter himself is an accomplished expert on Australia-China business relations. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my team at Asialink Business, thank you once again for your attendance with us today at our launch. Would you please now join me in welcoming Peter Tsai, the CEO of NFACR, to the lectern.
Leigh, thank you very much for your very kind introduction. And it's also great to be back in Melbourne again. And I know acknowledgement of the country has already been delivered, but I would like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay their respects to the past, oldest past, present, and emerging. I'm delighted to be joining you all here in Melbourne today, and thank you to those who have come to support this launch, and thank you to those who are joining online. It is wonderful to see this level of interest in this significant but a complex economic relationship that Australia has with China. I would like to thank Asialink Business for their work on this report and to the business that have provided their insights so that others can learn from their past to success. The National Foundation for Australia-China Relations is proud to support this report, and the important area of our work is engaging with Australian business community to understand their priorities, inform government, build a capability and advance resilient trade and investment with China, and including through funding initiatives such as this. The foundation is currently supporting over 90 grants worth a total of $12 million across Australia in a range of sectors, including business, arts, science, technology, community. I'm very fortunate to be able to support the foundation's grant initiative in person, acknowledge the contribution to deepening constructive and positive engagement with China. The launch of this report supports contemporary and will inform the public discussion on successful business engagement with China. We believe the insights from this report will help Australian small and medium business and the broader business community and the government to deepen their understanding of how to develop a long-term and sustainable engagement with the Chinese market. It shows that despite recent challenges, as Leigh mentioned, trade sanction, COVID, the opportunity for Australian SMEs in China are still significant. The report has some wonderful, revealing, honest and first-hand account of Australian SME doing business in China across a very broad range sector. It highlights how SME are adapting their strategies and operating models in the face of China's rapidly evolving markets and consumer trends. I look forward to hearing from our panel speakers as we discuss the challenges and opportunities raised in this report. Also, wish everyone looking to take their business to China all best of luck. As I wrap up, I just want to, I meant it in a very positive way, not as a negative comment. As I wrap up, I just want to provide encouragement for anyone looking for more information on the Worker Foundation to look at our websites, Facebook, LinkedIn. Please subscribe. I also like to hand over to Gabby for the rest of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter and Leigh. And thank you, Peter, for sharing a little bit more about how the foundation is helping Australian businesses understand the China market.